The Empire Strikes Back, released in 1980, and for its 40th anniversary, and cinemas are now back open where I live. I was able to experience my favourite personal movie of all time, The Empire Strikes Back, in the theatre, which it's honestly a dream come true to see a original trilogy Star Wars film in the theatre, and it did not look dated at all. It looked magnificent, and I'm just going to here to share my experience with you and just say, what I felt while watching this in the theatre. The last time I saw Empire Strikes Back, I believe, was on May the 4th, so it wasn't a while ago when I watched it. I always watch all three Star Wars original trilogy films on May the 4th, so that was the last time I watched it before I watched it here in theatres, and it was incredible in cinemas. It really, really was. I thought when I watched Rise of Skywalker that would be the last time I'd ever see the scroll in the cinema. I remember going, oh, this last time I'm going to see the diddlin, 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 but it wasn't. I was able to experience it again, and it was pretty epic. I haven't been to the cinema in many, many months because it's been closed down. And I think the last film I saw was 1917, so that was quite a while ago. That was in like January. But yeah, I do have evidence. I did go and see this movie, The Empire Strikes Back, right there. So I'll just tell you what I thought while watching this film in theatres. To be honest, this is probably the best time I've had watching a Star Wars film in cinemas. I remember watching The Force Awakens in 2015, and it was an incredible experience. I was so amped, I was so hyped, and I walked out really satisfied and couldn't wait to watch Episode 8. I couldn't remember my first time watching Rogue One in the theatre. I remember going, that was cool, I can't really remember much of it. I remember walking out The Last Jedi sort of in awe and just completely and utterly just don't know what to think. I could not forge an opinion. It was only two rewatches where I fully could forge an opinion on that film, and but I remember walking out completely speechless, which knew that the film at least affected me in some way. I walked out of Solo going, meh, it was fine, and I walked out of Rise of Skywalker, even though I had many issues with it, I walked out very, very happy for that film, and rewatches when it got better. So watching Empire Strikes Back, I believe it was it's definitely the oldest movie I've ever seen in the theatre, and it's the first time I've ever watched a movie in the theatre that I've seen before, like older, not in the cinema. So this was a interesting experience, and I was really amped to watch my favourite movie of all time in all its glory on the big screen. Let's get into some of the certain things that I loved watching on the big screen. Personally, all the shots of space and Hoth and Bespin and Dagobah all looked magnificent. This movie looked pristine. There wasn't one single shot that looked dated at all. It all looked magnificent. I can still not find a single flaw with this film. It's still a masterpiece, whatever. Not talking about the quality, I'm just talking about what I saw on the screen. It's fully immersive as well. You really forget that you're watching a movie. You really just in there. I wasn't really focusing on plot or character because I can analyse the movie whenever I want at home. I can sit there and analyse every single little bit of it, which I've done many times before. This time I was just having the visual experience and the sound experience. John Williams' magnificent scores, hearing the Imperial theme tune burst on the screen. I got chills everywhere. I pretty much had chills pretty much on every single moment of this film. It's like, whoa, I got goosebumps the entire finale on Cloud City. It's incredible. I teared up when I watched Han Solo being put into carbonite. It's incredible. Hearing these iconic lines and music on the big screen was really impactful. Hearing the Imperial theme tune around me. There was one problem I had while watching this in the theatre, though. As soon as it cuts, so as soon as the ship flies away and it goes doon, as soon as it did that, they turned the music right down on the speakers. So it was like, and it was just like, what? Why the hell do you turn it down? And the rest of the music playing the credits was really quiet, unfortunately. But not too big of a deal. It's just that I love that moment, that loudness and that conclusion. So that was a little bit of a problem with the screening I had. But beyond that, I had such a great time watching this in the theatre. I was really appreciative of the incredible experience of watching it in the theatre. Every shot of Star Destroyers every shot looked incredible. All the shots of Hoth, the AT-ATs, just really was able to appreciate stuff. Those things I noticed in the background, things because the small little character things I noticed in the background as well, because watching it on the big screen you're able to notice so many more things than you are at home, and vice versa, because sometimes you watch something on the big screen for the first time, you don't notice smaller things until you get home when you can have the screen closer to you. So but really watching this on the big screen, and seriously every single time I do watch The Empire Strikes Back it does get better, and I get more in the feels with it. And this movie, again, it's got better again watching it in the theatres every single viewing. I don't know what my next viewing of it's going to be like. Who knows? I don't know if I'm ever going to have as good as viewing as this in the theatre. But seriously, I had such a great time watching this in the cinema. It's such a privilege, and it's very special to me personally to be able to see my favorite movie of all time. The movie that got me into films, got me into thinking about movies, that got me into, wanting to talk about films, and yeah, it was a special experience for me. And I definitely loved watching all the visuals. A lot of the shots of the Valken shaking, every shaking shot, it was dizzy, it was awesome. This film is just so well directed. Irvin Kershner did a magnificent job directing this film, and it really shows watching it on the big screen because it looked better than the majority of things that I've seen in the cinema. Anyway, because the visuals are just so great, and this movie came out in 1980, and it's not a single bit dated. Every single shot, everything in The Empire Strikes Back has worked so well. Also, the fluid pacing of the entire thing. There's a level of it when they leave Hoth that you just completely immerse, and you feel like you've been watching it for a while. And then, as soon as it gets to Bespin, the pace just umps up, and it gets so quick, and it feels like the movie was only like 20 minutes long. But while you're watching it, it was so much more immersive than when you look back on it, and that's what makes such an amazing movie. I felt the same with Rise of Skywalker. When I was watching it, it felt like I was watching it for ages because I was immersed into it, and then when it finished, it felt, because everything was extremely quick, it feels like it was only on for like 20 minutes, and that shows you that a film doesn't have a single dull moment, and that's what The Empire Strikes Back doesn't have, a dull moment. And watching in the theatre was an incredible experience. I didn't want to miss a single second. I didn't want to blink. It was incredible. Hearing John Williams' beautiful scores. If you ever get a chance to see the original Star Wars films in the theatre, please do. They're incredible, and I loved watching my favourite movie in the cinema. It made me very happy. So guys, comment down below your opinions on The Empire Strikes Back, and let me know if you've ever seen any of the original Star Wars films in the theatre. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and goodbye.